Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today: Arnold Schwarzenegger issues a public apology for the whole screw your freedom debacle back in 2021. So for those of you that don't remember, I'll give you guys a brief summary of what happened in 2021. So Arnold was doing an interview about anti-maskers specifically, and he had a quote that a lot of people took issue with, specifically this portion of the interview where he said, "This is a virus here. It kills people. And the only way we prevent it is to get vaccinated, get masks, do social distancing, washing your hands all the time, and not just to think about, well, my freedom is kind of being disturbed here. No, screw your freedom." That was his direct quote from that portion of the interview, and that's what most people took issue with. And a lot of people still do take issue with. And one of the repercussions of that, specifically indirectly relating to me, was Redcon 1 being the title sponsor of the Arnold Classic that year, and pulling out specifically because of this incident. Because like I said, these statements were in August of 2021, and 2021 was the year that the Arnold Classic was held in September. So all this happened right before the Arnold Classic, which was the first Arnold Classic during the midst of the pandemic. You had the 2020 Arnold that got shut down mid-Arnold just as the pandemic was starting. Then 2021 was the delayed Arnold that Arnold still chose to follow through with despite losing an immense amount of money on the previous year's Arnold Classic. So needless to say, it wasn't just Redcon 1 that took issue with the statement. It was a lot of people, and a lot of fans still take issue with it. Even when I interviewed Arnold on my channel nearly 2 years later, I still saw comments in the comment section of that video saying "screw your freedom" directed at Arnold still. So a lot of people understandably upset with that choice of words still. Now, Arnold responded to a tweet today. The tweet saying, "I wasn't a fan of that stance either. But like family members who went there and friends, I understand it. They were afraid and believed they could trust authorities who claimed that they had the best interest at heart, a hard but valuable lesson from the world. Not getting over it is the energy that will make these folks repeat their mistakes instead of opening their minds to the alternative possibility and action." So this is the specific tweet that Arnold responded to, which I'm going to show you Arnold's response in a minute, but just to give you the full context, this original poster had posted, "I'm loving Schwarzenegger's new podcast. It's 3 days old, but quickly becoming the most positive corner of the internet on health, fitness, and wellness. There's something motivating about hearing from Arnie every day. Time for the gym." Then he shares a screenshot of Arnold's podcast, and someone responded to that saying, "I want to check this out, but I'm having a hard time getting over the Arnold F your freedom Schwarzenegger." So that is what this "I wasn't a fan of that stance either" tweet is responding to. Now, Arnold's response to that tweet. He says, "I want to thank you for your open-mindedness. I think we should be able to disagree without being enemies. Here's what I'll say. I'm sorry for saying those words. I try to be relentlessly positive, but sometimes my mouth gets ahead of me. I should have communicated better." So this is the first and only time I've seen Arnold publicly apologize about what he actually said in that quote, which honestly, I think the overall message of what he was trying to say was well-intentioned. But like I said, I do think that specific quote, those specific words, even though a lot of people were only highlighting that part of the clip, which was a much longer clip, and just showing that quick blurb of Arnold saying "screw your freedom" in their response videos and, you know, kind of attack campaigns on Arnold, I felt like they were taking it out of context a little bit. I felt like those words didn't need to be said. The "screw your freedom" part, he could have still got his point across without saying those specific words, and I think it would have been much better received. And I think hats off to him for acknowledging this and apologizing for it, because like I said, there are a lot of fans that are understandably still upset with him. I personally know people that still this year did not watch the Arnold, or did not attend the Arnold, or did not have a booth at the Arnold, still because of what he said in 2021. So there are people that are still upset. And I think to an extent, this apology was needed. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, because this is a topic that I feel like people feel very passionately about one way or the other. If you were mad at Arnold previously, do you forgive him after seeing this acknowledgement, this apology here, or do you still have an issue with him and what he said? And on the other side of that coin, are you somebody that never had an issue with what he said? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, Samson Dauda posting a physique update 4 weeks post-Arnold Classic, where he says he's weighing 313 pounds and taking time to give his body a break, probably meaning he's off cycle, or in the process of cycling off. Now, obviously, Samson looks incredible in this update, and he looked incredible at the Arnold Classic, which he won. And I've seen a lot of people saying on podcasts and in comments that Samson is the next Mr. Olympia. Now, that being said, do I think Samson will improve his placing at the Olympia this year from last year? Yes, I think he's going to place higher than 6, and I think realistically, he's going to be in the top 3. But honestly, I feel like a lot of people are already looking past Hadi Chupin, and I feel like he's not getting enough respect for being the Mr. Olympia champion that he is, because, you know, in this conversation with Samson, even Milos, I heard him say, if Samson comes in more conditioned at the Olympia, he has a shot at winning. Well, if conditioning is still a question mark for Samson at the Olympia, it's never been a question mark for Hadi Chupin. We know Hadi Chupin is probably going to be the most conditioned guy on that stage, like he has been for what, the last 3 years? 4 years, actually, 2019. And I think any of the 3 years prior to him actually winning the Olympia, you could have made a strong argument for him winning any of those given years, 19, 20, and 21. And there's this talk now that the judging is, quote, moving in a different direction towards taller guys, and maybe this is the end of the short bodybuilder era. I don't believe that. I think, honestly, now that Hadi Chupin and his conditioning has been established as the standard of the Olympia title holder, whoever beats him, I think, has to have just insane, off-the-wall, next-level, paper-thin-skin conditioning. And we haven't seen that yet from Samson. In all honesty, his conditioning at the Arnold was good, don't get me wrong. He's got a beautiful shape, a beautiful structure, he carries a ton of size. But he was not the most conditioned guy on that Arnold Classic stage. And he was not the most conditioned guy on that Olympia stage. And I think to beat somebody like Hadi Chupin, he would have to have just out-of-this-world conditioning to level up over Hadi. I think, you know, I'm only saying that to say I think people are kind of jumping the gun and really writing off Hadi Chupin because we don't see him as much. He doesn't have to compete in other shows. We haven't seen him compete in a show besides the Olympia in the last, 5 years? The last show we saw him do outside of the Olympia was in 2019, the Vancouver Pro, earlier on in the season. We don't see him doing shows like the Arnold. We don't see him doing, appearances or even interviews. So I think people are quick to write him off, but they forget Hadi Chupin brings it. But I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Samson Dauda is the next Mr. Olympia? Do you think he's going to win the Olympia this year based on his trajectory from the Arnold Classic, from the Olympia to the Arnold, then from the Arnold to the Olympia? Again, while I think he will move up in placings, I have a hard time seeing him knocking out Hadi Chupin. But you really got to take your hat off to him beating Rami and Nick, who he didn't beat at the last Mr. Olympia. Now, next up in the news, Sergio Oliva Jr. officially confirmed last night on an episode of Olympia TV that he will not be competing in the Arnold Classic South America as he initially planned on competing. He says, no, unfortunately, I'm not going to be competing there. I never even really said I was going to be competing there for sure. It was just a show that I wanted to shoot for. I really just wanted to qualify early and get this Olympia qualification off my back. I haven't been to the Olympia since Sean Roden won in 2018. So I really just wanted to get that off my back so then I could continue growing until the Olympia and be a force. That was kind of one of the shows in the beginning that I was thinking about. I'm still trying to get there for Black Skull, my sponsor, added Sergio. But as far as competing in the show, he says, I'm not going to be doing it. With the travel restrictions that I have, it wasn't going to be for sure that I was going to be able to travel, so I'm continuing to push my body. I cannot just tell myself, oh, you'll be fine, do another one. So I backed off this week, and we're going to try and shoot for the next show after, or maybe the one after that. So that would be the New York Pro and then the Cali Pro. So right now, as I mentioned, one of the standout bodybuilders in that Arnold Classic lineup is Behruz Tabani. And right now, other than a couple other guys that are smaller names, he's really the far and away front runner, I think, in this lineup to win, especially without Sergio Oliva Jr. being there to compete. So like I said, you might see him at the New York Pro, you might see him at the Cali Pro based on what he said at this interview. But the Arnold Classic South America apparently is not in the cards. But with that being said, a couple guys that we do know for sure are doing the Cali Pro. Tonio, the Predator Burton, for one, posting this physique update, looking really impressive. Honestly, Tonio really impressed me with his first Open Pro win at the Legion Sports Festival. I thought he looked great. I was a little bit underwhelmed at the Olympia. I think he just got out-muscled there. He tied for last, 16th place. But we know he is for sure confirmed to be doing the Cali Pro. Him and Patrick Moore are the two guys that I know for sure are doing it now. So that's going to be an interesting battle there, him and Patrick. I think they're on a little bit of a similar playing field I think Patrick is a guy that's been getting outsized in some of the lineups that he's been competing in, and I think Tonio suffers from a similar problem. But Tonio brings really, or at least at the Legion show, he brought good condition at the Olympia, but I don't think it was as good as the Legion show. And I'm curious to see if he's able to bring something similar to this Cali Pro. And Patrick Moore, we haven't really seen a complete, comprehensive physique update from since the Arnold Classic, so we still have to kind of wait to see a little bit more from him as we get closer to that show, which is still 7 weeks away. But it's still a show that I'm pretty excited for. Now, next up in the news, a physique update from none other than Iain Valliere. We haven't really talked a whole lot about Iain Valliere since the Olympia, where he placed outside of the top 10. He placed 11th at the Olympia. He posted this update 8.5 weeks out of the Toronto Pro Super Show, where he will be attempting to earn his qualification for the 2023 Mr. Olympia, which obviously he's not already qualified for. He says in this update, he's just shy of 280, 8.5 weeks out fasted, and this was taken in the morning. Now, I'm curious to hear your guys' opinion on this. I saw a fair amount of hype for Iain Valliere going into the 2022 Mr. Olympia. A lot of people talking about him being a potential top 6 threat, a serious top 6 threat at the Olympia, but dropping in placings to 11th outside of the top 10. And seeing some of these newer names, these rising stars place so highly and really excel, some of them at their first Olympia ever. My question to you guys is, if Iain does qualify for the 2023 Olympia, do you guys still see him as a potential top 6 guy this year? And we saw some of these guys, even though Iain beat Michael Krizo, we had Michael Krizo, we had Andrew Jacked, we had Samson Dauda making his first really big splash at the Olympia. We had Derek Lunsford, runner-up at his first ever Open Olympia. And I think this year you could have Good Vito in that mix, you could have Carlos Thomas Jr. in that mix, you could have more young upcoming guys. That could potentially push Iain back even further. I don't know, though. I still like his physique, and I'm still excited to see him compete in Vancouver. And the final story that I've got for you guys today, Charles Griffen, who has had a standout year in 2022, probably one of his best, if not his best, year as a professional bodybuilder, today posted a video saying he just tore his pec. So he posted this video doing some incline dumbbell presses where he says, "This was a scary, scary moment and thought my pec was gone. This happened on Monday. Dumbbell came off my leg wrong. Went to the doctor this morning to review MRIs. Long story short, we need no surgery. It's a grade 2 tear, and it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. No deformities at all." So hopefully it goes just as smoothly as he says, and he doesn't have to have any, career-ending or, potentially lifelong deformities. Here he says there's none, but hopefully this doesn't impact his future training and cause some kind of imbalance in his pecs, because obviously a very important factor in bodybuilding is symmetry, and there's a lot of guys when they tear a muscle like that, whether it be a bicep or a tricep or a pec or a quad, something that's on one side of the body and not the other, it can really throw off a physique. And I think honestly, at the top level, a pec tear, if it was severe enough, could be a career-ending injury for a top-level bodybuilder. So thoughts and prayers for Charles, the definition Griffen, and wishing him a fantastic 2023 season and a speedy recovery. So that's all for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.